I just returned from a Mediterranean cruise that included a port of call in Kusadasi, Turkey. Having never been to Turkey before, I was really excited, but I didn't know what to expect. One thing that kept popping up as a must-see in this port was taking a trip to the ancient city of Ephesus. I'm embarrassed to say that all of my life I've read books about the Ephesians in the Bible, but didn't make the connection that the city they were from was Ephesus. Knowing that, I knew I had to see it with my own eyes. Hi, I'm Rocki, and I love cruising and sharing my experiences with you so that when you cruise, you can hit the ground running. In this video, I'm going to share my day trip to Ephesus and give you some tips so that you will get the most of your visit. So, if that sounds like a good idea, you are in the right place. So, let's get into it. Kusadasi Turkey was surprisingly one of my favorite ports of call on my Mediterranean cruise off of the Princess Cruise Line's Enchanted Princess. I didn't really know what to expect, so I kind of did some research and found that a lot of people were saying you have to visit Ephesus. So the cruise line Princess did offer an excursion to Ephesus, but it was a little pricey. I believe it was like maybe $120, $140 per person. So I thought, oh, I can beat that. I'll just take a taxi there because it didn't seem like it was that far. So my game plan was to get off of the ship, go out into the port area, hail a taxi, and get going to Ephesus. Okay, don't do what I did. You want to plan a little bit better than that, but it did work out. The reason I say that is because there's actually a lot to do in the port area. So there's some things you might want to see and do before you get into the taxi, because I was so laser focused on finding a taxi till I actually missed some of the really fun and unique items in the bazaar. So when you walk off of the ship, you're right there, dab smack in the port area, and you'll just follow the road, and it'll lead you right into a bazaar that has a lot of unique items. You have spices, you have shopping, just rugs, all sorts of things that are unique to Turkey. However, I made a beeline for the taxi. So after doing a little bit of negotiating and trying to figure out, I wanted to be sure I wasn't going to get scammed. I found a taxi driver that would bring me to Ephesus and back for 60 euro. So I didn't think that was bad. So I went on and took that ride. And it was really a unique experience and I enjoyed it, but I do want to point something out to you. If you do decide to go the route and take a taxi, they might say something to you that I need at least 4 points. And so me, just not knowing what he meant, I thought that was like a rating, like, okay, a 4-star rating. And he's like, will you give me 4 points? I'm like, sure, I'll give you 4 points, no problem. So anyway, to make a long story short, the points actually refer to additional stops along the way. So if you already know in your mind that that's what that means and that you're going to have these additional stops and you agree to it, then it becomes part of your excursion and it's fine. However, for me, I was getting a little anxious because after we went to Ephesus, we had to make these additional stops. We had to stop at like a leather store. We had to stop at a rug store. We had to stop at a store where they sold all sorts of sundries and candies and things like that. And they were actually nice experiences, and I would have liked to have enjoyed them more, but I didn't realize that was part of it, so I did have a little bit of anxiety. But if you know that, and if your cab driver mentions points, you can always say no. You can say no points, just bring me to Ephesus and back. That's fine. However, me not knowing was like, yeah, I'll give you the points. And so then, I got stuck. But let me tell you something, points or no points, it was totally worth it. Seeing Ephesus was like nothing I have ever seen before. And I've seen ruins before. I had just come from Rome, had seen the Colosseum, and I've been to Athens and seen all sorts of ruins there. But this was I believe, one of the most well-preserved sites of ruins that I've ever seen. Here I am at Ephesus, and it is amazing. Behind me, you can see right there, are the baths. So this is where people would come and bathe back in these days, and they had thermal baths. People came and did exercises, so it was like a spa. So it kind of blew my mind because I didn't realize that people were about that spa life way back in biblical times. The area has been settled since 3000 BC, and it's amazing at how much of it is still standing. So my tip for you, when you go in to visit Ephesus, be prepared to pay about 40 lira, euro, about $40 per person to enter. There are two entrances. My cab driver suggested that I enter at the top. Apparently there's an entrance at the top of the site and one at the bottom. So you want to enter the one at the top for two reasons. One, it's going to be less crowded than the one at the bottom. And second, your tour is going to take you on a downhill trek because you're going to be walking over a lot of marbled pavements and uneven streets. So you want to make it as easy for yourself as you can. So you're going to walk downhill, which will just be a little less taxing on you overall. So one of the most amazing things you'll see when you are visiting Ephesus is the Library of Celsus. It was considered to be one of the few remaining examples of a library from the ancient world. It contained scrolls. At first I thought, oh, there's a lot of books in there, but it actually contained scrolls. And unfortunately, the interior was destroyed in a fire, but so much of it is still standing. I was simply, my judges dropped when I saw the facade of it and how much of it was still intact. So that alone is definitely worth your visit to Ephesus, just to see something that was built so long ago and it's still standing today. Another tip that I want to give you when visiting Ephesus is to bring headphones. Now, if you don't, you can get some there on site, but they'll be those little, inexpensive Bluetooth headphones. But if you have your own, you won't have to worry about that. But you will need headphones if you want to do the audio guide tour. So they won't give you like a handset or something like that. What you'll do is bring your phone, and then you'll download an app onto your phone. And once you download that app, then all of the different audio guides will populate. And then you can listen to them through your headphones. So I did not know that, so I didn't bring headphones, and I wish I would have had my own headphones. But it wasn't a huge deal, but then if you don't have your own, you have to sync their Bluetooth with yours. And I mean, it's just a little more time consuming. So if you bring your own phone and your own headphones, you will be ahead of the game on that. Another tip is that it is outdoors and likely to be hot when you visit. I was hot. So please don't forget your sunscreen. Don't forget your comfortable shoes. Don't forget to bring some water if you can. There is a concession stand there. So if you do get there and you feel like you need to hydrate and you didn't bring anything with you, you can buy water or beverages on site. And they also have like snacks like chips and things like that on site as well. But if you want to be sure, if you want to have your own, don't forget to pack those things to make your visit more comfortable. Be prepared to be there for hours. I was surprised at how vast Ephesus was. I don't know what I was thinking. Like I said, I've been to the Colosseum. I've been to different places in Athens, and nothing is on the scale of this. I mean, you could easily spend 2, 3 or more hours there, depending on how, into it you are. And I'm the kind of person who I like to go. I like to read the signs. I like to hear the audio guides. I like to really immerse myself in it. So if you're going to do it on that level, be prepared to stay there for about three or more hours. And because it can take just that long. I mean, it is really quite massive, and there's so much to see and to take in. You know, you get just all of the details of the different kinds of places that the people of the day lived in and how they lived, and just, you know, you'll just be amazed at all of the things that they have there that are still, you know, visible today. So allow yourself a lot of time. Don't think, oh, I'm going to go and see Ephesus in 30 minutes to an hour and I'm out. You won't be able to really appreciate it in that short amount of time. So Ephesus is truly a magical place, and I highly recommend visiting it. You might be wondering, oh, well, if I only have a few hours in port, should I, you know, stay in more in Kusadasi? Or, you know, does it make sense to go on into Ephesus? And I would say, you know, it's definitely worth it. To me, I kind of, I wish I could have seen more of the bazaar. However, you know, I did kind of get to see a lot of the area because you're going to be riding for about, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes from the port city into Ephesus. So you will get to see a lot of the surroundings there. And luckily I had a really cool taxi driver. I mean, besides from the points, I mean, I'm going to take it on that one because I really didn't know what points. That's on me. But, you know, he was really good at explaining what we were seeing, and in giving us a lot of information about the culture of the people and things like that, that, you know, we wouldn't normally get, like if we would have just taken a bus down into Ephesus. So that was really nice. And then we did get back with a little bit of time to spare to kind of, you know, slowly meander through the bazaar a little bit. Not really enough time to do a lot of shopping there because, you know, we did spend quite some time in Ephesus. But I would say just, you know, if you in any way like anything biblical, which for me was very important, or if you like history, historical, archaeological, anything like that, you gotta go. You gotta see Ephesus. I mean, it was everything. So there you have it, folks. That's my take on visiting the beautiful, beautiful town of Ephesus. And I hope that you can take away some good tips and tricks from this video. If you did find it useful or informative in any way, please give this video a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. That would really, really help out a lot. And as always, thank you so much for watching.